Hi, welcome back to my channel. If you've never been here before, I'm Fat Sajak. And today we've got a video going on. My mic is also, I don't know what's happening, and in the interest of actually getting this video to you, I'm just going to film with the internal mic. This is on. It's 100 degrees outside. If you don't like it, oh well. Bear with me if the sound is garbage. Oh boy. We're just gonna jump right in today, because today is... Listen, I'm gonna try to bring some levity to some of these things because that's what I do. But overall, like, a lot of what we're talking about today is kind of heavy, kind of stupid, kind of shitty, kind of important. It runs the gamut. Before we do in fact get into it, make sure you subscribe to my channel, Patreon, all that stuff is linked. I'm not gonna do a bunch of self-promo today. We're just gonna kind of yap. But before we yap, I just want you to know that this bad boy can fit so many disclaimers in it. This video is gonna be long, probably. My notes are long, so my guess is it's probably going to be pretty lengthy. Number one, this video is not an endorsement of or a targeted trashing of anybody. So please, for the love of God, don't go harass anyone, certainly on my behalf or on behalf of anyone else. I feel like my audience is old enough and mature enough and responsible enough to not go do those things, but there are always outliers, and so please, for the love of God, don't be dogpiling on people, don't be harassing people, unless you're like me in the way that I use threads to yell at random men saying some fucked up shit. Number two, this video is going to contain subject matter that requires a ton of nuance, okay? A ton of things you are going to either agree with me or vehemently disagree with me on. And I want you to know that, like, in one whole opinion, there are like many subsets of that opinion that are like a different opinion for me. And I'm genuinely trying to come at this video, these topics, with as much being as objective as I can. And given that I'm, you know, acquaintances with two of the main players in this story, and I'm just letting you know, I'm not walking in with like a bias today. I'm not walking anywhere. I'm sitting in a chair. Number three, it's okay if you disagree with me on a lot of these things. I don't mind when people disagree with me. It's okay that you talk about the fact that you disagree with me. It's okay that you talk about it in the comment section that you disagree with me. You don't even have to be pleasant about it if you feel heated about it. The only thing I ask that you do is be respectful in the comments. Not just towards me, because I can take it, but toward the folks that you're having conversations with in the comments. There are a lot of aspects to this whole thing that some people will just never agree on. There are going to be standstills in this discussion, and we are all adults here who can have conversations. So I'm not going to delete your comments. I don't moderate my comments like that. I'm not going to delete your comments if you don't agree with me or you're having a heated discussion. But if I do see comments of you being a fucking dick, I will be deleting those comments, because the only person allowed to be a dick on this channel is me. You want to be a dick, you make your own YouTube channel. Number four, I am making a video about this situation, okay? I'm not saying past performance isn't an indicator of future performance, or that patterns don't exist, or what have you. I'm trying to keep these things as relevant to the topic at hand as possible. The only things that I'm pulling from the past or talking about from the past are things that are expressly relevant to the situation. So please, for the love of God, miss me with, oh, Adam McIntyre once said this thing, oh, Jen Dent once did this thing. I'm not saying that they're unimportant things. I'm not saying that they're completely irrelevant to a bigger picture. I'm just trying to keep things as pertinent as possible. Do you understand? Do you get me? You hear me? You heard? Got it. Okay. Don't make me come bully you on threads. And finally, almost everybody in this story save for Paige Christie. Almost everybody in the situation has made some sort of mistake or misstep or miscommunication or something in this. No one is infallible. I'm not giving anybody a pass. I would never. I'm just trying to offer some perspective as someone who has sort of like a toe on the inside a little and has just been watching everything else pretty closely from the outside. I'm not here to villainize anyone. I'm not here to make excuses for anyone, which I've already preemptively been accused of on both sides of things. And I think that's kind of weird. I haven't said anything. Again, I don't think anybody's infallible, and I don't think anybody's exempt from criticism. Not the people I talk about, not even me. I think that's all my disclaimers, so stay with me. Crack open a beverage of some kind. If you still drink alcohol, couldn't recommend it more right now. This Witch's Brew is just gonna have to get me through. Right, now that we've gotten that out of the way, I'd like to thank the sponsor of today's video, My Last Fucking Nerve. All the composure you can muster in half the time. You can use my code SAJAK checkout for 50% off your next unnecessary drama-induced mentee bee, alright? Holy fuck. Anyway, so for a video like this, I gotta hit the backstory. First, I should probably tell you what the video is about, even though you presumably can read the title. We're gonna talk about what's been going on between Jen Dent and Adam McIntyre and that whole situation, as well as the Sixth Senses video and their microaggression. I mean, microaggressions even feels reductive, but their racism, let's call it what it is, toward Paige Christie. We're gonna watch a little bit of her video and sort of the overarching issues here. Doesn't that sound fun? Like I said, for a video like this, I gotta kind of hit the backstory here. And I was going to give you like the TLDR version for the sake of brevity, but unfortunately I've never met Brevity. She sounds lovely, but we're not gonna be talking to her today. So on June 2nd, 2026, Alyssa Perrine uploaded a video called The Real Reason I Left the Gabby Hanna Fandom. And if you don't know who Alyssa Perrine is, you are not alone. And ironically, this is a big part of why we're here today. I knew Alyssa Perrine back in her time as the biggest fucking nightmare Gabby Hanna stan that has ever existed, in my opinion. She was relentlessly annoying and relentlessly cruel, and a stan of Gabby Hanna in the worst way. On the front lines of every Gabby Hanna drama that ever was stood Alyssa Perrine. And to be clear, I want to delineate the line between fan and stan, because a fandom has what some doctors like to call a grip on reality. A standum, well, Alyssa. So I was heavily steeped in that sort of circle of things at the time, and I was very much aware of the beef between Alyssa Perrine and Jen Dent at the time. And sort of the more I've thought about this over the years, like this was back in 2020-ish, 2021-ish, I don't know the dates on that one, but somewhere in that area, somewhere between 2019 and 2021. The more I've thought about this over the years, the more I realize like how actually insular all of that was. And it took me a while to get, like, I didn't even have this realization until like 6 months ago. Is like I was dealing day in and day out with these really obnoxious Gabby Hanna stans who were determined to be, you know, really annoying and a big piece of shit, and they would dox people, and they were you know, going for people's real lives and shit over Gabby Hanna. And you know, there were a lot of things that went down there, you know, including what we're about to talk about when it comes to Jen, that felt like they were much bigger than they actually were. Not that the problems weren't bigger, like not that what happened to Jen, I'm not trying to like reduce down what happened to Jen to, you know, this was not a big deal, but like a lot of people didn't know about these things. And I think because we were very steeped in this world of like arguing with Gabby Hanna stans, for whatever reason we felt like other people knew about this, and when a lot of people had no fucking idea. And to be clear, you know, I think one of the misconceptions that's been talked about lately is about Jen and Gabby and their relationship, which I assume has been sort of cleared up lately because Jen had been going through old videos of Gabby being nuts, and I think the 6 months kind of went into their history a little bit, but like they knew each other from back in the Vine days, and they always seemed to have a really contentious relationship. And my thought was always that Gabby talked a lot of shit about Jen behind the scenes to the stands, like in Patreon and things like that, because they would come at her so viciously and with absolute vitriol, and they were awful. They were just awful, and they were specifically awful to Jen. And Jen, of course, matched the energy because that's the way she handles things. Now, Gabby Stans did perpetuate a rumor that was started by a Twitter account called BungleX, which we have been over recently, that falsely stated that Jen had SA'd a child, and they called her employers, her former employers. They signed her up for mass spam emails. Alyssa did cut out, copy and paste Jen Dun's signature onto a cease and desist that she sent to her, which is in fact forgery, despite Alyssa's insistence that it is not. I mean, she did ask a notary and all. Anyhow, I can definitely see how, like, from the outside, as a standalone, Alyssa's video serves as like a seemingly remorseful but incomplete realization that they were part of a really heinous community, but like they themselves were not that bad. She also seemed to use a lot of ChatGPT for this and had a cadence that I personally think is intentional to make the audience believe that she's not and was not an adult when all of this happened, which she was, but I digress. There were a lot of insinuations in Alyssa's video that she was more of like a bystander in a lot of these situations where Gabby's most devoted stans were like harassing people, doxing people. But if you ask anyone that was around during this time who had the full Gabby Hannah stan experience, they would tell you Alyssa Perrine is the first one on the list of stans that perpetuated the most heinous, vile shit and committed literal forgery. We remembered Alyssa is the point. And I think that it's totally fine that other people didn't know who she was. When you really look out at the big picture, I didn't expect anybody to know who Alyssa was except for those of us that were like involved. Because again, I started looking at it and realizing how insular all of it was. Even when I made a video, which I'm gonna reference that down the line, but like I made a video where I was talking about like I can't believe more people didn't pick up on this tweet, this BungleX tweet about Jen, because like what the fuck, that's such a horrible thing. But all of this that felt so big to us in the moment really barely made it to like the shore of the internet, you know what I mean? So Alyssa took no accountability in this video, and I don't believe she's even sorry. And since the video, and honestly part and parcel with this is that the reason I don't really feel like she's sorry is because she's still harassing Jen Dent on Twitter, even as her own Alyssa Perrine Updates account, which is absolutely not just Alyssa. Now, my immediate theory on why Alyssa made this video in the first place is also kind of relative to why we're here today. I think Alyssa made this video because she wanted her own Cody Rants moment. She wanted to do to Gabby Hannah and to Jen Dent what Cody Tyler did to Colleen Ballinger and Adam McIntyre. And the irony of this is not lost on me. We're gonna get to that later. But I think that Alyssa wanted her own little moment in the sun to be like fawned over and pitied for how Gabby treated her. And she wanted to go viral for blowing Gabby's shit up. That's just my 2 cents. I didn't say it made complete sense. And that would also track for Alyssa. Alyssa and Cody Tyler actually also had beef already. Cody had made a video about Alyssa and how she'd gone too far, and it's privated now. I don't know. I'm not gonna go look for it because, to be honest with you, I don't find it as relevant to all of this, but to know that it happened is relevant enough. What I've gathered from Alyssa's like weird ass response video is that it was directly about Alyssa, Gabby, and Jen. And some of you in my, not many of you, I assume in my regular audience, but some of you may be asking yourselves,
well, Sajak, who the fuck is Cody Tyler?
And that's a great question, and I would love to tell you. Cody Tyler was the catalyst for the fallout and subsequent downfall of Colleen Ballinger. And if you're thinking to yourself,
well, that's great. How exciting.
No. In exposing Colleen Ballinger in an erratic live stream, and I sure hope they got their laptop, they exposed themselves for being in group chats with minors. And I just want to undilute. I want to re-up the ingredients in what group chats with Colleen Ballinger means, because I think that people who refuse to educate themselves about what happened with Colleen Ballinger don't understand that her group chats with minors were not just, wow, it's inappropriate that you're talking to kids. They were asking these kids about their first periods. When Adam made a joke with the people that he was talking to in these group chats and saying his ass looked good or whatever, Colleen asked for pictures. Even playfully, that's inappropriate. He was a kid. On top of talking to them at length about her divorce, about her sex life, both of her husband's penises and bodies in a sexual manner. Just a little, that's just a tiny a fraction of the things that were happening in those group chats. Cody exposed himself for being part of these group chats and saying that Colleen essentially manipulated them into making videos in her defense against Adam, and basically leading the charge of a huge harassment campaign against Adam McIntyre, who was a kid at the time. The entire internet came for him the first time he spoke up about Colleen Ballinger, about being literally groomed by Colleen Ballinger. For context, this is important, okay? And then they self-admitted to writing some like violent fan fiction that involved not only Colleen, but also the people in these, like this fandom, these kids in this fandom. She wrote a 21 chapter explicit fan fiction about Colleen being raped, featuring a bunch of minor characters, and then posted on to her children fans that she wanted them to each pick a character so they could act out the fan fiction. This is really readily available and Googleable, just like some other stuff that we'll talk about later. So that's who Cody Tyler is. You can go ahead and put a pin in. So back in March, when Gabby returned and was really like edging us all with her testimony talk, I had made a follow-up video to a Gabby video about the Patreon group chats and the horrible shit that Gabby was saying about Jesse Smiles, and as well as, I think that's what it was in that one, as well as talking about the Bungalox tweet and how there was a bunch of heinous stuff from this era that people had either not known about or forgotten. And again, one of those was the Bungalox tweet about Jen. I stand by that video. There have been people who have said, oh, I remember that, but what? Like, I don't know. The fact that we didn't make it a bigger deal is shocking, I guess. But again, everything now looking back was so insular. How many people didn't know? Anyway, along the way, some commentary channels picked up on Alyssa's story, and we're gonna talk about that in a second. What a good time for my voice to go out. On June 21st of this year, Jen posted a video titled, "Gabby Hanna Tried to Ruin My Life, and I Have Proof." We did talk about this video here in detail, so I won't go over it again in full. This video was through and through vindication for Jen. She showed videos of Gabby directly asking fans using their names in video to spread really damaging misinformation about Jen. She insisted incorrectly that the fan that she was paying money and asking to do her dirty work wouldn't be liable for being sued. And she took a hefty shit while she feigned some fake ass apology to the fan for, you know, burdening them with the labor of committing crimes. Genuinely, I was, and I still am, happy that Jen got the vindication that she deserves. I'm glad that the story finally got the traction that it deserved, and that people actually really truly see Gabby for who she really is, and what a vile person she can be. I do also think that at some point she is going to come out and double down, especially now. Put another pin in it, if you will. But the point is, I stand with Jen on that. I watched that happen in real time. I have had talks with her about it since, and I know that it's affected her deeply, because of course it would. That's life-ruining stuff hurled against a lesbian woman, a title which already comes with societal stigma, particularly against children. You know, that remains true. That remains true for me, that I stand with Jen on that, and I'm very glad that she was given the moment of vindication, even if it's kind of been wasted at this point. So when Alyssa's video dropped, it gained some like pretty solid traction for a channel her size, because to be honest, an inflammatory post about Gabby Hanna will gain traction. Any post about Gabby Hanna likely will gain traction. It caught the eye of the commentary community because of that, which makes perfect sense, because listen, one thing people are gonna do is click on a Gabby Hanna video. You know, she's like a dumpster fire and a car crash rolled into one. You can't look away, and you have no idea what you're actually looking at. When her video dropped, I chose not to cover it, Alyssa, because I didn't want to, if I'm being perfectly honest with you. I spent a long time arguing, what felt like a long time. Apparently I have no concept of how long something goes on or how many people are paying attention to it. But I spent what felt like a lot of time arguing with Gabby Hanna stans, and I didn't want to do that anymore because I'm 40. Like, even looking back on my tenure as an dude, fuck you. Even looking back on my like tenure as an anti Gabby Hanna stan, I genuinely am like, I was in my 30s. What were you doing, girl? What were you doing? I was out there thinking I was fighting the good fight, but I was literally just arguing with amateur idiots. And as frustrating as it was to like sit there and watch her, Alyssa, try to rewrite the narrative of what she did without specifics, this was one of those things where I was like, I feel like the trash is gonna take itself out here. Like, I'm not too worried about it, but if I have to talk about it, I will. Kind of one of those vibes. So I saw that Evangelina Scott had made a video, and I saw that Adam McIntyre had made a video. I watched Evangelina's video first, and I noticed that Evangelina kind of came around to the inauthentic narrative that Alyssa was trying to spin, and her inability to take accountability as well. Which is kind of the direction that, like I said, I would assume this would have gone after Alyssa's, 15 minutes of fame crashed and burned like somebody's mom on a diet in the 90s. It's because they're called crash diets. I'm not making fun of people on a diet, okay? Devil's food snack wells, I swear to God. However, by the time I got to watch Adam's video, it was deleted. And from what I had heard, his video had been in support of Alyssa, so my first thought was, oh, good. So evidently in this video, I never got to watch all of it at all, but evidently in this video, Adam took Alyssa at face value when she said she was a victim of Gabby Hanna. And he read her exactly as I believe she meant to be read, which was as some innocent, childlike victim when she herself was an adult, albeit a young adult, and also a perpetrator. Like, immediately my thought went to, okay, it makes sense that someone who I personally thought, before I even knew that Adam deleted a video, who I personally thought was aiming for a Cody Tyler moment. And you can ask my friends, I said it in the group chat. I said, this feels like she's trying to be Cody Tyler here. It made sense in my head, like my brain immediately deduced the fact that like, oh, he thought this was similar. Oh, he's aligning this with what happened to him. But I didn't put too much thought into it otherwise. Because I didn't see the video. I didn't see, how egregious it was or whatever in terms of believing a fucking liar. But also, like, believing someone who says they're a victim of Gabby Hanna makes a lot of sense to me too. I think if you've seen Gabby's behavior online in any part of this decade, you could probably deduce that there are probably more people just like that who have bad experiences with her personally. You know, I think "I'm a victim of Gabby Hanna" is a sentence that just makes sense. I could see the draw being, oh, this feels familiar, this feels like what I experienced, because for Colleen, Adam was her Alyssa. Adam was to Colleen what Alyssa was to Gabby. Are you staying with me? Granted, Adam wasn't out here committing crimes. And, you know, other than Joshua David Evans calling him a bully, his bully specifically, he was out there doing Colleen's dirty work during his time in her fandom. Difference though is that Alyssa was an adult. Now, I'm not saying she was around 18 at the time, if I remember. I'm not saying 18 is like a magical number where all of a sudden you're way more mature than you were, you know, last year, and you're much harder to manipulate now. It doesn't work like that. It's not magical, right? But Adam was 12 when he was neck deep in riding hard for Colleen Ballinger. I'm gonna fall to my knees and sob right now. But listen, at the end of the day, Adam was irrefutably groomed. Alyssa was just irrefutably an asshole. And there's also a whole conversation to be had about whether or not Alyssa's actually like a victim of Gabby Hanna, because I could see both sides of that narrative, I guess, but we're not here to have that conversation, so put a cork in it. Anyway, after Adam made that initial video, Jen posted a short captioned, "All day long, Adam McIntyre, come retrieve your innocent stand." It was just her scrolling through her Twitter timeline, showing the harassment she was still receiving at the hands of Alyssa, to kind of say, hey, she's not innocent, she's a piece of shit. Alyssa and all her very real fan accounts were gloating about Adam buying the rancid shit that she was selling. Which is funny because when I decided to go try to find screenshots of past interactions with Alyssa when she originally made her video, just to kind of like solidify my memory that these were really awful interactions. So many of her accounts are deleted or have been banned. Some of them are still there, and some of them feature her really trying hard to get Adam McIntyre's attention. And unfortunately this time it worked. And all the while she's been harassing Jen. Now, I don't expect people to know that. I didn't even know that it was still happening. I knew it from back in the day. I didn't know that it was still occurring. So if I don't know, I've been pretty long-term decent acquaintances with Jen, how the fuck would anyone else be expected to know? So because of Adam's misread on Alyssa, a lot of people said, like,
do your research, Adam. It would take 2 seconds to Google Alyssa Perrine, Adam. You're platforming someone who harassed another creator on a very real level, Adam. Alyssa was one of the most prolific and vile Gabby stans, Adam.
Are these points incorrect? No. Does it warrant all of this? No. Listen, commentary channels come in all shapes, sizes. I come in one size, it is blob. Some of us do long-winded think pieces, some of us do well thought out video essays, some of us gossip and talk shit, some of us just react to stuff in real time. It runs the gambit, right? Did I say gambit? So Adam's format seems to be streaming on Twitch for several hours with a few topics and then cutting those topics down into digestible YouTube videos, which is an incredibly efficient business model. I don't know who came up with that, but that's brilliant. Can be a little problematic when you miss a thing or two here or there, obviously, but overall, pretty solid business model. So he, I believe, reacted to Alyssa's video in real time. I believe he does let the audience know if he's seen the video that they're about to watch. Listen, he got it wrong. He got it wrong. He was wrong about Alyssa. He put a shitty person on his large platform because he believed her when she said she was a victim of Gabby Hanna. He believed her when she said she was a victim, period. And I'm sorry, but is that not what people are doing? Are you not believing people? Is it believe all victims, or is it believe some victims sometimes? Because personally, I would rather believe someone when they say they've been victimized or hurt or something, and then find out that they're a shit person later and have to walk that back, then treat them with a suspicion. That's just me. I don't know. You might feel differently. And whether or not you think it's irresponsible that this happened on his very large platform is up for interpretation, but I think we also simultaneously have to stop assuming that everyone knows everything about everything and everyone. Sometimes people get it wrong, and sometimes people getting it wrong ends up hurting someone else, even when their intentions were good. That is life, okay? That is how things happen in life. And a lot of people have said that this information is readily available. It's just a quick Google away. Okay, cool. Yeah, absolutely. I think a lot of this would require context as well. And it would be a huge rabbit hole to have to go down. But he wasn't making a researched think piece. He was reacting to a video. Those are different types of content. The critique is you need to make better content that is different content than you make. Expecting him to do something different because this is your situation or because this is a situation that you know more about than he does, that's not fair to do to any creator, to expect them to make different content than they make to appease the things that you know that they may not. And I'm not saying that being a reaction channel gives you a pass or license to irresponsibly platform people. People fuck up. People make fucking mistakes, and everyone makes a goddamn mistake, and we have to start letting people make mistakes. People are inherently fallible. You can make the most well-intentioned and well-researched video and still make mistakes and still miss stuff entirely. And there was no malice in this video. This video was not, well, fuck Jen Dent, she's probably lying, we better platform this childlike woman who lives in a room that looks like a dumpster fucking exploded. He didn't double down on his mistake. He didn't deny that he made a mistake. One of Jen's biggest gripes in her video, where she talked about, in her vindication video, in the portion where she talked about Adam specifically, was that he makes videos too quickly. You don't need to put out 9 million videos a day. You should actually stop and research some of the things you're talking about. And while I'd argue, again, that that's not what his channel is, we're now having a parallel problem of you need to slow down and start researching your videos. But then when Adam pulled the video down, it was, why aren't you correcting the record faster? So which is it? Like, do you want him to take his time and do the research, or do you want him to just spit out a statement that's going to satisfy somebody? You want him to actually give a shit and give his platform to something that matters to you, or do you just want him to say something to appease the angry crowd? So like I said, Adam deleted this video, and on his way to VidCon he did a live, just a regular live stream. He wasn't reacting to anything. He said explicitly, I'm not going to be going live and making videos while I'm at VidCon, which I think some people would argue is his right, and some people would say, well, why can't you just correct, or at least say, hey, I'm going to address this publicly. In the place where you put the thing that hurt people, yes, you should probably put the thing that says, I'm going to fix this. And by the way, this live stream where he said this was not leaked. It's not behind a paywall. It was on Twitch. It's not for only the most devoted muckers. It was a public live. I didn't watch it myself, but clips of it are on YouTube. It was available on Twitch. He made it known that he was going to talk about it when he got back from VidCon. Realistically, would it have saved everybody like a lot of grief if Adam just made a community post that said, hey, off to VidCon, I'm gonna put these pieces back together and correct the record when I get back? Yeah, for sure. I would probably just want people to know that, like, hey, I see this, I'm gonna talk about this, because it would stress me out. But that's me. And again, I want to reiterate, like, that original video wasn't made with malice. It wasn't made maliciously. It wasn't a purposeful fuck you to Jen Dent or anyone else who suffered at the hands of Alyssa. It was a mistake, and it wasn't made from like willful ignorance. It was literally like a mistake. Like, this is the part of this that I can't get over, and when I look at this, I get so frustrated at how big this has gotten, because like it was so clearly a mistake, and not like a Shane Dawson, oops, I've done blackface for a decade kind of mistake, like the real kind. And I keep seeing this reiterated, that like he said, and I believe it was that live, that he saw Alyssa was gloating, or no, maybe it was in his I think in his video about his follow-up video about Jen, that one of the main reasons he took it down was that he saw Alyssa was gloating about getting attention from him. And this is something that people have an issue with. I don't think it means it's the only reason, and even if it is, so what? This would mean that he realized she was a shitty person before he even got to the part where she was a shitty person to Jen. So are we now mad that he isn't doing things sequentially? Or that he's being forthcoming about why he deleted a video and decided to reassess? Because like I feel like we're moving the goalpost a lot here over something that, again, at least to me, seemed like nothing more than a mistake. And I don't get me wrong, I agree that like if you have a big platform and you spread misinformation, even if it's unintentional, and you don't correct it as soon as possible, like that's not the fucking move. It's just not the move. It's my personal belief. I can't dictate how other people do things. For me, if I have been informed that something I have said, if I've said something or done something that is objectively incorrect, or it's objectively wrong, or it's hurt people or whatever, I want to correct that right away. I don't want that to sit and linger and fester and become something that it isn't, right? Especially, again, if not done in malice. And in the meantime, while this is going on, Jen had made some videos, some shorts about, or directed to Adam, talking about Adam's harassment of her, or rather her being accused of harassing him. And I went back through them point by point, and I really just think this is a fucked up game of telephone. I'm not saying that there weren't outliers in both communities that were harassing people, because surely there were. In the video that Jen titles Addressing My Bullying of Adam McIntyre, she goes on to play clips that are out of context and talk about things that are said in comment sections, not by Adam himself, as well as saying that she doesn't really know the details of the Colleen Ballinger situation, which is going to become one of my biggest points of contention, and I promise we are going to get to it in just a bit. But this leads me to believe that maybe Jen was receiving information and not actually consuming what she was angry about. I don't know if that has to do with Cody Tyler. A lot of people I've seen have speculated that she's got Cody Tyler in her ear. I don't know. But either way, it looks like she's getting a bastardized version of some sort of like one-sided TLDR, out of context version of events, and running with it like it's the truth, in lieu of just actually watching the content herself, which, like, she doesn't have to watch the content herself. You know, she doesn't have to watch it at all. She doesn't have to continue to consume this at all. Close the laptop. I don't know. So when Adam sat down and actually watched Jen's vindication video on stream after he got back from VidCon, he opened by apologizing profusely, and this included the only instance of which I saw him saying anything related to what Jen was talking about, in terms of saying that he was harassing or bullying him. She was harassing or bullying him. Words. Adam said that Jen and her fans attacked him in comment sections on his vlogs and his other videos. He did not expound upon that. That was a sentence that he said. After being attacked in comment sections on my vlogs and my other videos.
I'm taking the time to watch your video, and I literally have said that multiple times, that I wanted to take the time to cover this properly. I think that Jen and her fans, no joke, attacking me on every comment section, my vlogs, all of my other videos, for the last week and a half while I said that I've been working at VidCon and doing my SIR meetup, is, I think that is, two things cannot be true at the same time. You cannot say that I cover things too quickly and I don't do my due diligence, but then whenever I do, because I can't focus on doing all that, and then a quick stream in a hotel room about it.
It was the beginning of a sentence. That's it. And it's not false. I mean, there were several videos, Jen made several videos about Adam, right? his comment section was full of address the Jen Dent thing, right? So that's what was happening. And again, he didn't belabor the point. He didn't carry on about it. It was literally just part of a sentence. He said he found it odd that he was being requested to make a video about the situation, but also take more time to research videos before making them, which is, again, the point that I made. Like, what do you want? What do you actually want? That's it. I mean, other than that, it was a lot of apologizing. Yes, there were qualifiers. Do I think that apologies with qualifiers are good apologies? Nope, I surely don't. Do I think Adam mishandled this apology? Yep, I surely do. But do I also think Jen having referred to him as Adam McIntyre in all his infinite wisdom was not a catalyst for sort of contentious interactions? The thing is like, you can dislike Adam's apology. I disliked Adam's apology. I didn't think it was inadequate. I'm not wild about an I'm sorry but, even if what comes after that but is legit. Comes after that but I also, do I really genuinely don't think this is an issue that needed to be dragged out this fucking far. This is nuts, especially because when Adam put that video on YouTube, Jen accepted his apology. Now, accepting someone's apology is not permanent, right? You can retract your acceptance of someone's apology at any time. But again, I wonder where that reaction came from. I wonder where that retraction of that apology came from. Because she's saying that he's claiming that she's bullying and harassing him. And genuinely, and you may correct me if I'm wrong, outside of the video that he just made, the videos he's just started making this week, I hadn't seen Adam talk about Jen at all since the last video where he apologized to her. And again, you don't have to accept that apology. You don't have to think it's a good apology. I hadn't heard him speak of her at all. In fact, people were very excited that he actually was just letting her talk, because there was nothing happening on his end. Again, I know that there are outliers in everybody's community that say fucked up. There better not be any in mine. But in most communities, I know that there are generally outliers who say really fucked up, nasty things to people. And a lot of times, they don't even belong to the communities that they're defending. And a lot of times, they could be Alyssa Perrine, you know? A lot of times. It's not like she's known for having lots of alt accounts or anything. So that leads me to wonder, where does all this information come from? What are we looking at? What are we looking at that is showing bullying and harassment? And how many times have I seen muckers in comment sections or on Reddit who have said things like, this is not how our community functions. We don't talk like this. So by and large, it seems like the community itself doesn't operate in treating people like shit. You may argue that they go hard for Adam. A lot of people's communities go hard for their creators. I don't. I'm not. It makes me uncomfortable, because then that leaves people in a position where they're not available for criticism, and I think that kind of sucks. But I understand, like, a younger audience is more inclined to go rabid for the creator that they're there for, right? I think that's fine, as long as it doesn't end up at a Gabby Hanna unhealthy level, right? I don't know. And there's no way to know who anybody is. Even if they identify themselves as a mucker and then tell you to kill yourself, there's no guarantee that that person actually watches Adam's content and doesn't just hate Jen Dent. There's no proof that that person isn't just 3 Alyssa Perrines in a trench coat. Again, no, really, genuinely, I could not find a pattern of harassment anywhere. I mean, yes, I saw a handful of shitty comments, but that's unfortunately the internet. And obviously that doesn't make it okay. I'm just saying, like, that's part of this job. Here's my thing. And this is the part that gets me kind of fucking heated. I mean, a lot of this gets me heated, but this Jen being upset with Adam for platforming somebody who harassed her and hurt her for years is absolutely beyond valid. Her anger is valid. Her frustration is valid. I do think a one-on-one conversation between the two of them would have resolved this, and we wouldn't have had to do all of this nonsense. We wouldn't be where we are right now. But I digress again. Her feelings on this are valid. So imagine my surprise when I find out that Jen and Hello Leash were associating themselves with Cody Tyler. And I'm not saying they're besties. I'm not saying they're pals. I'm not saying they paint each other's nails in the evenings. I'm saying that there was enough association, enough support shown, and enough, honestly. You know, you remember Cody Tyler? We talked about them earlier. Do you remember when we talked about how they made Adam's life a living hell and wrote explicit, violent fan fiction for children to act out? Yeah, okay, you don't know Cody's full backstory. Okay, you're not besties. Fine. But if enough people are saying things like, I can't believe you would associate with blank, even during a time of like cancel culture where everybody's a problem, would that not be enough motivation to look at least why that might be? Why is Alyssa Perrine just a quick Google away, but Cody Tyler has apparently is apparently receiving no search results? Which brings me to my next point, and I do not want to belabor this point, okay? But this is part of the story by force at this point, so I'm going to touch on it briefly. Hello Leash is a creator that inserted herself into this mess, which made sense in the beginning because she also was on the receiving end of harassment from Alyssa. You know Alyssa, of Alyssa Perrine Updates fame. Hello Leash and I used to be friends. I was a part of her community. We had a falling out a few years ago. It was messy and public, and we moved on eventually, and it is what it is. We're no longer friends. We haven't spoken in years. Friendships end. This one just happened to be public and messy. However, I've been watching her coverage of this. I have left these videos and shorts frustrated. In a video that she posted and then made unlisted, she talks about Adam sort of at length, and says that the whole Colleen Ballinger saga is 50% uninteresting to her and 50% skeeves her out. If I remember correctly, she had also at one point phrased it by saying that she doesn't care about the Colleen Ballinger drama, like using that verbiage. Let me make this clear. Every commentary channel does not have to cover the same things. We don't have to cover the same topics, the same people, the same creators. Some stuff just doesn't appeal. Do you know how many people ask me to cover shit that I don't care about? I can't feign interest in things that don't already interest me. So those are things that I typically won't look into very hard or don't want to talk about then. I can't just sit here in a video and go, well, I don't know anything about this, so let's talk about it in depth. So that being said, why are you talking about Adam McIntyre if you don't understand what happened to Adam McIntyre where Colleen Ballinger is concerned? Because you don't want to. Especially because you have to know that something nefarious happened there if the situation skeeves you out. If it was never about Adam, which she keeps insisting that it wasn't, then stop talking about Adam. Stop using him in your title. Talk about the parts of the story that do matter to you. She was making this entire video that was supposed to be about Paige and the situation with Paige that we're going to talk about shortly, and instead of talking about Paige, she made it about Adam. At this point, being acquainted with Cody Tyler, and I know that Hello Leash has been adamant that they are not friends, but associating with Cody Tyler in live chats and in comment sections, in Cody's comment sections, and also refusing to learn about Cody Tyler's involvement in what happened to Adam McIntyre as a child at the hands of a very, very popular, well, then popular, YouTube creator, is not only beyond irresponsible, it's downright fucking hypocritical to sit here and bloviate ad nauseum about how Adam platformed Alyssa because he didn't fucking know who she was, when the other side of the coin here is doing the exact same thing. It is so fucking frustrating to sit here and watch these parties argue and fight and post this shit when they just All they have to do is the work to understand each other. All they have to do is sit down with a bag of fucking Cheetos and watch a couple videos. It's really not that complicated. If I hear, well, I'm told, or I didn't watch this, but so one more fucking time I'm gonna explode. And I'm holding it together really well right now. How do you expect to be heard or to hear someone else if you're not even listening? If you're not even willing to listen? Adam's situation with Cody Tyler is directly related to Jen's situation with Alyssa. And if we all just fucking communicated with each other like fucking adults, we probably could have handled this a lot sooner and we wouldn't be where we are today. Because at this point, we've been here, I've been filming for over an hour, and we're just making it over the tip of the iceberg. And I feel like I'm insane because, again, I haven't seen Adam's community harassing Jen. Well, now we'll get there. From what I had seen, Adam had stayed quiet, Jen had kept talking, and then moved on to talking about Gabby Hanna and her past and sort of commentating on the things that Gabby has said and done over the years. And I think that is fine. And not that I'm the fucking content police, but like, I think that focusing on Gabby Hanna is important. And I'm gonna get to that point later as well. I felt like that was a healthier thing for her to be doing for herself. Anyhow, the newly deleted account, the Sixth Spence, made a 3-hour video oozing with bias and applying a shit ton of bad faith intent to Adam's actions over the course of the past few months. I feel like no matter what side of this you're on, that video was dog shit. I didn't save it because it wasn't worth saving. I barely got through it. It was rough. A lot of the things they said were made up or implied, I guess would be more. It was more about implication, assigning implication to things, which we don't need any more implications. I think we could just deal in truths and directness from here on out. It was a smug little video and I hated every damn minute of it. But none so much as towards the end when the Sixth Spence unleashed just a sea of misogynoir directed at Paige Christie. Yeah, this was vile. This was vile. And it was loud and clear from this third grade video project of theirs. And for this, Paige Christie called them out. And rightfully so. And more than called them out, she expressed her anger and her hurt and her fear over the way that she has to speak and hold herself and how different that is to the white experience. I don't want to be the asshole that's pandering to you right now. I'm not going to pander to you and explain the Black experience. I want you to hear it from Paige.
I woke up this morning and watched a video that has made me so incredibly angry. I don't know what to do with my anger. I don't even know what to do with my anger. But I have to keep myself calm and measured because I'm absolutely terrified of anything it is that I'm saying getting misconstrued, misinterpreted, because I've been rendered speechless, basically. I've been rendered speechless because there is literally nothing I can do or say that is ever going to make anybody understand where in the fuck I'm coming from. So just to bring you up to speed, because I don't really know how to start this video, and I'm not into these kind of videos, but I feel like something needs to be addressed, right? This isn't like allegations coming out against me that I'm having to defend myself from. Don't worry, I've not molested any children or anything like that. But it's something that is incredibly important to me, and I feel like my personal identity, my racial identity, has been weaponized against me. Now, I don't know whether to call this out and out racism or whether to call this just racial discrimination or racial profiling, but that is exactly what has just happened.
Okay, so that's the intro to Paige's video. I want you to go to watch Paige's video. I want you to go to Paige's YouTube channel to watch Paige's video. I'm not playing the whole thing for you here. It's an incredibly important video and I want you to watch it. And I don't want you I don't want to regurgitate this information. This is information you should hear from Paige herself. She is talking about this 3-hour video that the Sixth Sense made about the situation with Jen and Adam, which was called Adam McIntyre turned Gabby Hanna's victim into a villain or some shit like that. Nuts. And there was a segment that she had issues with a lot of this, but this segment here is the part that is the most important, I think.
Seem pretty angry about it. So is it that Jen Dent is a woman yelling on the internet? Is that what it is? Did she make one too many tweets when she was really fucking upset? Is that the difference? You don't make as many tweets. You're not as loud. You're not as angry. So you get to be upset about things and Jen doesn't. What's the difference there, Adam? Explain that to me. I have always felt really strongly about the ways in which we don't allow women to be angry. And
I want you to remember that too. We don't allow women to be angry. But
actually, on that note, you know who really, really fucking let me down? Paige Christie really disappointed me. On the day when I did the interview with Jen, we finished the interview. It took us 3 hours. And then Jen saw that Paige Christie had posted a video. And I have not seen the entirety of the video.
If I never hear someone say, I haven't watched this video, when it is readily available, it's one thing when it's gone. It's one thing when it's been deleted. It's one thing when it's gone. It's one thing when it's been deleted. It's one thing when circumstances like that arise. But if you were actively not watching something and then making commentary about it, nuts. That's nuts to me.
Because she's a friend of Adam McIntyre, so I can't imagine.
okay, I want you to clock that. She just said that she's disappointed in me and she had seen a video that Jen Dent had sent to her, I'm guessing, and that Jen Dent was upset about this video. I don't know if Jen Dent even watched it at this point.
I think it's safe to say probably not.
And she said that she hasn't watched a video of mine because I'm friends with Adam McIntyre, therefore it would have pissed her off. So in a video where she's critiquing Adam McIntyre of not doing his due diligence and not being fucked, I want you to clock what they just said right there. That they can do literally the minimal amount of research that it would have taken for the claim it is that they're about to make against me.
That seems to be the running theme. That seems to be the running theme here. Why bother to actually look at the thing we're talking about? Why bother to educate ourselves on the thing that we're talking about? Why bother to be thorough enough to talk about things in a way that actually represents them accurately when we could just fucking guess? But then turn around and say, well, Adam didn't do his research. Adam didn't do his research on Alyssa Perrine, who is nobody, unless you ask the Alyssa Perrine Updates account.
They haven't even looked at my video. They haven't even watched it. They have admittedly not watched my video. They don't care about my video or its content or even giving context to what we're about to see.
Imagine that it's not going to piss me off. But even if she got on there and she said, Adam, you fucked up. You did the wrong thing. You should have done better. She
Which I did.
approaches this video with so much disrespect towards a victim. The title of the video is Adam McIntyre and Jen Dent Won't Stop? All caps, exclamation mark, question mark. And the thumbnail has, I would show it to you on my phone, but I'm going to put an image up. It has Adam in the middle because he's the main character, in case you...
Because if you'd have watched the video, you would see that my issue is that the main character of this entire story was Gabrielle Hanna. I said it numerous times. If I've got clips of it, I will put it in this video. And I feel like when situations happen like this, it's like a pie, right? As in, the meat and potatoes of this pie is fuck Gabby Hanna and fuck all of the people who supported her through her fucking bullshit, right? That's the meat and potatoes of it, right? However, inside the crust of this pie is something called butter. And that butter that's gelatinous and holds everything together is Jen. She's the one who's surrounding this whole situation. But the flakes on top is Adam McIntyre. However, sometimes when you take a bite into a pie, I don't know why I'm using pie as an analogy. I'm a big back, clearly. But like when you take a bite into the pie, sometimes the meat and potato isn't the most interesting bit. Sometimes the most interesting bit is the flakes. You like a flaky crust. That shit's delicious. All over your mouth, getting everywhere. That shit's delicious. And I feel like that's what's happening. We're missing the meat and potatoes of the pie to do the outside stuff. The meat and potatoes is fuck Gabby, fuck Alyssa, fuck all y'all who supported that bullshit for as long as you did, knowing as much as you did for as long as you did. And how dare you come onto the internet and try and make yourself a victim? And how dare you try and use this situation to perpetuate that you're innocent in any capacity? That's the meat and potatoes of that pie. And also, fuck you, Gabby Hanna, for using your subscribers in this horribly parasocial way. Fuck you for using them in this the most apparent way that you could use other human beings to do your personal bidding in situations that were way out of their control when they were at their most vulnerable, you horrible, sick bitch. That is the meat and potatoes of the pie.
That was an incredibly satisfying watch the first time and the second time. Because, yeah, I watched both of these videos. Turns out it helps with things like context and, information.
I said numerous times that Gabrielle Hanna is the person that we should be focused on, and everything else on the outside is not the meat and potatoes of what is really going on. That is why Adam is in the center. He's in the center for a reason that you could have got with context clues had you would watched my video, but you admittedly did not, while scrutinizing somebody else for that exact same thing. That makes absolutely no sense. Again, keeping my voice measured because I don't want to be policed on how I am speaking because I am not allowed a voice.
This makes me so fucking angry. This makes me so fucking angry for Paige. And I do not have her lived experience. I am angry on her behalf. Like, the fact that she feels like she has to tone down her actual feelings and her actual anger and frustration, and she's not just allowed to be angry and frustrated.
You didn't know. He's the person this whole story is about, not Jen. Adam. He's the protagonist. He's what everything is about. And then the first 10 seconds of this video are Paige watching this woman, this victim of the situation, expressing fear and panic on camera, zooms in on her like she's a crazy person, and makes this facial expression, like looks around her, the way that you would if like an insane person was yelling near you about something that you thought was completely unhinged and unreasonable. Paige Christie, I'm so fucking disappointed. You
strap in.
In a facial expression. She is upset with my facial expression, but provides no context as to what I'm actually reacting to.
should know better. You, of all people, should know better than to do this.
Why?
You, of all people,
Why
should
should
know how
I?
fucking harmful the angry woman stereotype is. How fucking harmful the societal thing of looking at a woman expressing intense emotions and saying, oh, she's angry, and then acting like she's hysterical and insane and embarrassing for acting that way. You should know better.
Imagine berating a black woman about how she should know better as a white person, or at least a white passing person. I don't know their game, but I'm really glad that they deleted their channel. I don't think that there's not a place for discussions. I don't think people should just out and out be deplatformed when they say fucked up shit, but like, this is not adding anything positive to any discourse.
I expected
know
better
better.
from you.
Like I'm a dog, like I'm a fucking child. I should know better, okay?
Jen got off of the call with me, opened up her YouTube, saw the first 10 seconds of this video, and she cried. And she texted me, sounding so broken and so tired and so ashamed. So ashamed. Yet again, once again, like she hasn't been made to feel ashamed again and again and again and again in her life. Now we have these fucking self-important YouTubers.
Who is I've watched this once already, and this still makes me viscerally fucking angry. How fucking dare you? How fucking dare you speak to Paige like this? Speak to anybody like this.
Played
Rip
a
on
facial
reality.
expression. I just want to be clear. That is the third time now that she has replayed a facial expression, no context.
Have lost touch with the real world, sitting there doing this to a victim. And she felt so ashamed and so tired and so afraid. This was supposed to be her moment of like vindication.
And Paige ruined that with the facial expression? Or was it Adam that ruined that by making a mistake and not correcting it the right way?
Of yes, I've proven myself. I'm free from this situation. I've proven that somebody did something horrible to me. And what the fuck are these people doing? What is this? What the fuck is commentary YouTube? Disgusting misogynistic drivel.
Spence, you ever got on Twitter before? That would be an interesting time.
And I expect that from Adam. I was not expecting it from Paige Christie. But she's friends with Adam, so I should have known better. What is this? If you are an angry woman and through your life you've dared to commit the sin of expressing your emotions in a
On your face, apparently not.
way that inconvenienced people, God forbid, I'd love for you to share your story in the comments.
Do they have to pass a race check first? Is there like a race and ethnicity portion where like you get screened first and then you're either allowed or not allowed to emote based on that? Just want to make sure. I'm not sure if the Equal Opportunities Act in America applies to this, so just trying to do my due diligence and whatnot.
Okay, so that's pretty much what is said about me. And this pisses me off to no end. There is something that is uniquely frustrating about watching somebody construct a moral argument around you whilst admitting that they have not even bothered to investigate what you actually did. Because had they investigated this video, they would have seen that my facial reaction was actually a facial reaction of confusion. But I digress. Let's take a look.
Yes, I'm part of the story. I am a big part of the story. That's not me bragging. That's just after years of fucking being ignored, of being like, this shit happened. Does anybody remember this shit? Does anybody fucking remember this shit that fucking happened to me? And y'all don't fucking want to talk about me unless I call you out, and then you want to say I'm fucking bullying you. I'm fucking pissed.
I heard Alyssa out. I've deleted my video.
Right, that's what you did. You're right. That's what you did. But then you came back and said that I bullied and harassed you. I left a comment.
Do we know where this receipt is? When did this happen? Yeah, I don't know. If anyone knows where that is, because if that was said, then I understand her anger and grievance. That's what I said. I said when? When did this happen? Does anybody have the proof? Because if somebody has the proof, then I understand they're upset and no grievance. Also, just to make it abundantly clear, I have no eyelashes on in that video. I was very nervous and worried about not having eyelashes or my wig on in that video. Because see, if you're not a black woman with a majority white audience, you would never understand what it's like to sit on your platform in your realest and rawest version of yourself and have people critique you. And then for you to take that critique of my eyes being widened, but without the lashes to soften the effect for you, to make it more palatable for you. You take that and you use my facial expression as a depiction of what it is that I feel without context. Facial expressions deserve context. If I give you a facial expression right now, you need to know what was said before and what was said after to even qualify what that expression was. You took my face in a moment of confusion, and then you turned around and told your audience that I was perpetuating stereotypes of misogyny, whilst in tandem having an act of misogynoir against me. For a fucking facial expression. You did not bother to investigate what you actually saw. But apparently we have reached a place where my face now requires investigative journalism, but my actual words do not.
That is such a great point. We're going to psychoanalyze the facial expressions. Apply a bunch of intent to them. Racist and misogynistic intent. We're going to apply intent to them. And then we're going to ignore the rest of the video because what Paige had to say doesn't matter. She made a face.
At this point in her video, I am brought into a conversation that is majorly about Adam McIntyre and Jen Dent and Gabby Hanna. And the reason that I'm brought into this conversation is because of a facial expression I had whilst I was watching another video, Jen's video. Not something I said, not an argument that I made, not a position that I articulated, my face. More specifically, a facial expression that I would describe as confusion. This expression is now interpreted as me participating in or otherwise validating or contributing to a narrative that Jen is angry and aggressive. And this is where, from here, something considerably serious happens. I am told that essentially, as a black woman, I should understand better than most what it feels like to have the stereotype of the angry black woman imposed upon me. Therefore, I should know better than to perpetuate a stereotype of that, of an angry or an aggressive woman, or just stereotyping another marginalized woman because Jen Dent is a gay woman. And apparently for that, Spence, you are now disappointed in me. But there is just one rather inconvenient problem. You didn't even watch my video.
What are we doing? How are we making a multi-hour think piece trying to sway the opinion about somebody without even actually watching what we're talking about and being fucking racist in doing so?
And I really need people to understand how extraordinarily fucking ironic this is in context. You are making a video upset with Adam McIntyre for not doing his due diligence, for not going out of his way to do his research, and not being fucked to do the basic, most minimal amount of research. You are literally criticizing somebody for failing to understand the context of something it is surrounding the people of which they are discussing, as in Alyssa. But then, before credits roll, you do precisely that to me. You admittedly didn't watch the video. You didn't even listen to my argument. You didn't even establish what I believed. You didn't even establish what I'm responding to. And you did not establish what I was saying or doing before and after the facial expression. The one that you selected and replayed 3 times. Now, apparently there was enough time to locate this footage, isolate that said clip, edit it into your videos, and then replay it repeatedly. But somewhere in the production schedule, there was just no chance to be able to locate what on earth was being discussed at that point in the fucking video.
Period. And again, this is the through line. This is just the most egregious example of the through line. This is the through line with all of these conversations. No one is watching the content. No one is listening to the things being said. People are applying intent, and at this point, just applying whatever the fuck they want to what people are saying. And that's why this has gotten so out of hand so unnecessarily. And to be this fucking racist.
And that matters because you've just turned an ambiguous facial expression into an ideological position. You saw confusion and then assigned intention to it. And then, and this is the biggest part, you invoked my blackness to increase the severity of something that you have never established that I had even done.
Exactly. I don't even have anything to add because, like, she's absolutely right. This is fucking insane to me. That this didn't pass anybody's fucking vibe check in the editing room is nuts.
And this is where it stops being merely annoying to me, because my identity is not a rhetorical device for somebody else to pull out when they want their criticism to hold more moral weight. If you criticize something that I said, quote me. If you want to criticize an argument that I made, play it. If you believe that I characterized Jen as angry or aggressive, threatening or irrational or anything else, then show me where I did that. But you cannot skip that little inconvenient step where you establish my conduct and then go directly to Paige as a black woman should know better. Know better than to do what? That question, it matters. Because before you lecture me about what my identity really means or why it should mean that I should know better, you first have to actually establish that I did the thing that you are disappointed in me for doing. And you didn't. Instead, my blackness became a part of the prosecution, while my actual words were not important enough to even enter into the evidence. And there's also an irony that just simply cannot be ignored. The moral principle that you are invoking that marginalized people, or marginalized women, shall I say, can be unfairly interpreted through stereotypes surrounding aggression and anger. Fine, I agree. Which is precisely why we should probably be a little bit more careful when looking at a marginalized woman's face, assigning emotional or ideological meaning to it without listening to what was actually said, and then constructing a moral judgment around that interpretation. Because you can't simultaneously lecture me about the dangers of perpetuating certain stereotypes and assumptions onto marginalized women while confidently projecting an entire position based on my face. You are asking nuance for one woman and then not giving it to the other. And then you are using the identity of the woman that you denied nuance to as the reason that she should be ashamed of herself. And that's what bothers me. Not because I believe that black people are incapable of perpetuating harmful stereotypes. Of course we're capable of doing that. Being a part of a marginalized group does not automatically grant somebody immunity from prejudice or ignorant or bad behavior. But if you're gonna tell a black woman that she, of all people, should understand the harm of a particular stereotype, then I suggest that the bare minimum is actually establishing that she actually perpetuated the stereotype in the first place.
I am sitting here, a white woman, a white gay woman. The only thing I would know how to say is fuck you. And I suppose that goes hand in hand with not feeling like she's allowed to just do that, which comes from the behavior that, you know, Spence himself brought to the table here. I have nothing to add. I mean, she said this beautifully.
My blackness does not lower the evidence threshold required before you make an accusation of me. If anything, the argument it is that you are making should make you more attentive about the context. Instead, you watched my face. You decided what it meant, you replayed it 3 times, and then explained to your audience that my racial identity should have taught me about the behavior that you decided that my face represented. There are lessons that my racial identity has taught me that you will never fucking know. And you did all of that without even watching the video. And I'm sorry, there is something freaking spectacular about criticizing somebody else about their lack of research, and rightfully so. Nobody is contesting that Adam McIntyre should have done some more research. I think Adam McIntyre himself would come down and tell you that he should have done more research. But to do that while your own argument about me depends on information that you acknowledge that you didn't even bother to examine. And this is why when it comes to feminism, I am very much one of those people who is understanding of the fact that there is intersectional feminism, because your version of feminism isn't mine, because the moment you had the fucking opportunity, you went straight for misogynoir. You went straight for the horrible misogynistic tropes that have followed me for years to use as your backbone for your own fucking sentiment.
Again, I have nothing really to add. If you fancy yourself a feminist and if you have not integrated intersectionality into that feminism, then your feminism is essentially useless.
Intersectionality is supposed to help us understand how systems and identities interact. It's not supposed to function as a hierarchy or moral obligations, where my blackness can now suddenly be summoned as evidence that I should have behaved accordingly. To a standard, again, that you invented based on my facial expression. You don't get to turn my identity into homework. You don't get to tell me that my lived experience and my proximity to one stereotype creates an obligation to accept your interpretation of me, your interpretation of an entirely different situation. And you don't get to invoke the historical treatment of Black women and of Black people against a Black woman whose position you do not even care to hear. If my argument was wrong, rebut my argument. If my words were harmful, quote my words. If I misrepresented Jen, demonstrate that misrepresentation. I am perfectly capable of being criticized. But you didn't do any of that. You didn't watch what I said. You decided what I meant. And then you broadcast that judgment to your entire audience. That is not a standard of analysis that I would accept from Adam McIntyre. And that is not a standard that I would accept for myself. And considering the thesis of your own video, I genuinely cannot understand why this is a standard that you are willing to accept for yourself. So yes, by all means, let's have the conversation about stereotypes. Let's talk about all of the ways that marginalized women have been flattened into simplistic caricatures. Let's talk about the danger of assuming aggression or hostility or malicious intent without sufficient context. Let's talk about when somebody else's interpretation becomes more important than what the woman herself said. And I am very happy to have that conversation. But I don't think that you will enjoy where it leads. The reason I made my video to do with Adam McIntyre and Jen Dent is just that I was following a story. I don't expect you to know my life story because I don't know yours. But that video was made literally 1 month to the day that I buried my brother. And to all the people who have been sitting here wondering, where are your long form, well thought out, well scripted videos? I'm in debt. I come from a poor family. And I had to pull money out of my fucking ass crack to pay for a funeral that I cannot afford. But I'm the only person with enough credit in my family to make it happen. And I was not going to let my brother go down. I was not going to allow my brother to not have himself respected in the way that he deserves to be respected. So yes, I am now doing this content where I am reacting more so in streams. But I'm doing that because I would much rather work my motherfucking ass off than to sit here and ask you guys to donate to a GoFundMe, to send me some money, because I am in a privileged position. So when this Spence person sits down on their platform and says self-important influencers, how fucking dare you? Self-importance is creating a fucking paywall for a Discord server. £5 a month just to fucking communicate with you is self-importance. And if moderation was hard, by George, go and find some fucking moderators. I have never in my 10 years on YouTube seen somebody use my race, weaponize my race against me to uplift a white woman.
I'm sorry, I'm playing these in longer clips because I want you to hear. I love how honest and also forthright Paige is about the way that she feels about this. And I want you to hear this from her. She's also so much more eloquent than I am. I mean, that's the way of the white person. White people will do anything to be heard over people of color because it's like Paige referred to it as a hierarchy. It's like the Olympics for white people. It's the Olympics of who is more oppressed, or I was oppressed once. Include me in this story.
And for so many years here on YouTube, I have been in the exact same box of just writing and rewriting and going over my words. Don't take me out of context. Don't use that phrasing. Make sure moderate your tone, girl. Make sure that your voice isn't too high pitched. Make sure it's not too low. Because what if the people think that you're being mean, that you're being this, that you are angry, that you are aggressive? So you find yourself making videos, moderating everything to a fault that you lose your fucking personality. I'm not allowed to be here on the internet anymore. Because even down to my fucking facial expressions, I am critiqued to no end. The bar that is set for Paige Christie is not the same bar that everybody else gets. Jen gets to be angry. Paige can't make fucking facial expressions. A facial expressions which is so quite clearly, given the context, misconstrued. I'm tired. And usually I don't let the criticism get to me, but fuck me, like, what am I supposed to do? My racial identity is not a pawn in your game of chess. My racial identity should not be a part of any kind of discussion to do with Adam McIntyre, Jen Dent, or Gabrielle Hanna. My racial identity is mine alone and my experience. And the privilege that you have to sit on your platform and make such sweeping judgments of me based on absolutely nothing is quite honestly diabolical.
Paige, you are a bigger person than I am. I wouldn't give them that benefit of the doubt. I really wouldn't. And that probably comes from a history of feeling that she has to keep herself measured, that she can't be too angry, that she can't be too expressive. Or maybe it's just who she is as a person. She's just one of those people that gives people the benefit of the doubt. I've seen enough from this person to not, especially because they followed it up then with an apology that was doubling down. I didn't save it. I don't want it. I don't want to look at that person's face again. And then they deleted their channel. I'm sorry, Paige. I'm sorry that this happened to you. I am sorry that this person hurt you. And I hope you never, ever, ever stop expressing yourself. And I support you 100% on this. I'm disgusted. And I'm very glad that Spence deleted their account. They have some stuff to unpack, I think. And all white people do. Nobody's done. If your skin is white, you're not done unpacking. And you never will be. No matter how good of an ally or an advocate you are, we will never be done unpacking. We have a lifetime of unpacking ahead of us. So, you know. Honestly, good riddance.
What the hell was that?
Jen apologized to Paige on Twitter. Paige replied and said, "It's squashed." I then saw through replies that Paige had then gone to Discord to say that these people do this to save face, or something to that effect. However, what she said to Jen was that it was squashed, which I would take to mean that publicly we don't have beef. We're at a net neutral, if you will. I don't know if you know this, but Paige doesn't have to sing Jen's praises for apologizing for co-signing things that Spence said. If it's publicly squashed, then it's publicly squashed. It sounds like Paige didn't plan on holding resentment, and she's allowed to still be frustrated. Hope this helps. Speaking of Twitter, this is... I can't support this. I won't support this. I won't. Jen, what the hell is this? You are so much fucking better than this. This is so fucking disappointing. I can't support purposely and continuously treating people like this. Your anger is valid. You are allowed to be angry, but you are turning this into something way, way bigger than it needed to be, and way more vile than it needed to be. I know that Alyssa was abusive to you, Jen. I know that Gabby was abusive to you. You know I know. I saw it. I was there. I stood by you. I've stood up for you. I've used my platform to stand up for you. And I don't care about that. I would have done it if I had to go back in time. I still would have. I still would stand by you in this situation. I still would stand by you in this situation. But I can't stand by this. Adam is not Alyssa or Gabby. The Muckers are not Alyssa or Gabby. But now we've crossed a threshold here, and now things are different. Adam's not being quiet anymore, and he doesn't have to be. And this isn't me caping for one creator or the other. This is about basic human fucking decency. Using helmet as a pejorative, which that's what this is. There are myriad of ways to say that Alyssa is stupid, or people that are criticizing you are stupid. Even though I don't think that's a great way to spend your time, that's not for me to say. But there are other ways to say the things that you're saying. You're telling everyone left, right, and center to fuck off, regardless of how kindly they're coming to you or trying to reason with you and get you to stop talking about people this way. You're doubling down on this shit behavior, and it fucking sucks. I don't understand why this is necessary. And I'm sure I will be told to fuck off as well, and that's fine. And if this is where we are then this is where we are. I will always be glad that Jen was vindicated in the situation between her and Gabby, and Gabby's payoff, Gabby paying off fans to spread life-ruining, fucked up rumors about Jen. And I don't regret standing up for or standing by her, but I cannot and I will not defend this. And the worst part about it, aside from all the other worst parts, is that Gabby wins. Once again, Gabby Hanna wins. We stopped talking about her paying off fans to try to ruin people's lives. Stopped talking about her lies, her fucked up behaviors, her bullshit testimony, her insane God phase, the fact that she ran a pedestrian over with her car. Jen's story of vindication over an actual fucking internet villain is now reduced to this. And this will be her ammo. Because it's not a question of if Gabby comes back. She'll come back. She's going to. She always does. She's a fucking cicada. She will come out every so often to scream. And mark my words, she will. And when she does, she is going to use this. You think she's not saying this? You think the remaining handful of people who still support Gabby aren't saying this? She's going to fucking use this, and the cycle is going to start all over again. It's going to be, see, look how abusive Jen Dent is. Look how she behaves online. That's what's gonna happen. I don't know Gabby personally, but I've covered her long enough to know how her patterns of behavior work. And that vindication from the internet, the part of the internet that once questioned Jen, the part of the internet that didn't believe her or ignored her, the part that stood up for her when all of this came out, that's gonna be gone. That's already gone. She's already lost people. She's already got people questioning whether or not Gabby is actually an abusive piece of shit. And for what? Because Adam McIntyre didn't cover the situation properly? Because he fumbled cleaning it up properly? He had to walk something back and take another stab at it? Because he didn't apologize right? That was worth throwing all of that away? For this? I don't know, man. I don't know. I'd like to be funny right now, but I've melted. And I'm disappointed in this, to say the least. This is a fucking bummer. I think that's all I have to say. Let me know your thoughts in the comments. Please remember, just be respectful to each other in the comments. And please don't go harass anybody, dogpile on anybody, add to anybody's frustration or upset. Let's try to bring the temperature of this down on this very, very, in my opinion, quite stupid blow up of things. I'm gonna go. And I'm gonna put my head in the freezer. Subscribe.
Experience pure moods.